What's going on, guys? Welcome back to 100% Chelsea and welcome to your live sofa review, obviously here on the Fan Park Live set. So thank you to UFF for letting us use it for today. And I'm also joined by Scott and by Lewis, as we discussed, for the sofa review earlier on Twitter today. So we're going to go through some of your comments. We're going to go through other bits of content as well. We're going to talk about the game. We'll do our player ratings live as well. And we're just basically going to analyse what was a shit show, quite frankly, and obviously go through the deeper rooted problems in the club, because there are some existing, and it's just a straight up nightmare. But let's get into the game first. And obviously we were all there yesterday, all saw the worst defeat Chelsea faced in the Premier League era. Lewis, you start, mate.
We played the finished article, and I think if we'd started that game better, it could have been I'm not going to say we could have won or we could have drawn. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but I think it would have been a much more different result if we went into that game better. But we fell asleep for the first goal, and then everything just fell apart through there. There was small mistakes, and when you're facing a team like Man City, they're just going to make you pay for every single mistake, and that's why they were 4-0 up within 25 minutes.
I mean, Scott, Lewis just summarised it perfectly. Obviously, they are the finished article. However, you know, you've still got to have you've still got to show a bit of pride, and we didn't do that at all yesterday.
No, the best way I can put it is we tried to outpass the best passing team in the country. And I said before the game that I wouldn't have cared if there was some effort put in, but there was no effort. I mean, Higuain to an extent, Hazard to an extent, Kante to an extent, because it's Kante, but apart from that, it was dreadful. No one was really putting in any effort. No one was really looking like they wanted to play. As Lewis said, 25 minutes and it was the end of the game. Yeah,
and I mean, you know, I mean, one guy here, CFC Ono, he sent a super chat, so I said, give Surrey time. We are in a cup final, playing the team which beat us 6-0 in that cup final. Look, I don't know what to say, to be honest. I'm still was trying to piece it together this morning. I'm still trying to piece it together now. How can something go so wrong so quickly? And obviously, me and you were talking about it on the way down. Like, there's an element of, you know, we are in a state of transition. Is Sarri going to get that time though?
I feel like Chelsea over the last couple of months, let's say from November, were a ticking time bomb in terms of you could see the little problems around the squad, but it weren't really being exposed like that. Like, we were a bit slow in attack, but we were still kind of getting results, like little draws here and there. We don't want that, but we're still getting results. January comes in and it's all just fallen on its head. Lost our last 4 away games. We've conceded 10 in our last 2. I get Maurizio Sarri's game management was poor, and I understand that. Me and you were talking on the way down. I was saying I would have made a sub at 3-0. I would have brought on Ruben Loftus-Cheek and I would have taken off Ross Barkley, so we could have at least a bit more attacking threat. We didn't make a sub till the 50th minute, and it was Kovacic. Now, Kovacic is a quality player. He's got great quality on the ball, but let's be real. He ain't going to shoot.
No, it's not his game.
That's the thing. And it's a case of in-game management, but then, you know, when we talk about all the other different elements, you then look at the players that we've brought in, the money that we've spent on those players to bring in, which might mean that we don't have the money to spend now. Let's look back at the 2017-18 summer transfer window. 58 mil on Morata, 40 on Bakayoko, 35 on Drinkwater. Like, our problem has been that, and I don't think it's been said too many times, but we've basically spent like Real Madrid on players that barely would even improve the quality of sides outside the top 7. At least that's what I think.
I think you got a point there. I think that the main problem is if you look at like teams like Real Madrid or PSG or whoever that are able to go out and spend mad money, they'll go and buy players that might not necessarily improve the team all that much, but they'll at least, you can at least see their quality. We just went out and bought anyone and everyone. It just seemed like we needed so say we needed a CDM to replace Matic. We just bought the first person that was available for a decent amount of money. And it's just,
I get that. It's as decent as 40 million is, but then you look
Yeah.
at it, it's like little things in those transfers as well. Like, do you remember how nearly every transfer that we made that season, just so happened to be injured? Take a little bit off the transfer fee. Little things like that. And I'm looking at it as like, I do think, to an extent, we've lost our ambition. And I think one of the other issues is that you remember, whenever we have bad spells of form in the team, Roman Abramovich would usually be coming down to Cobham, speaking to the team, trying to find the root cause of this problem. Where is he? He can't come into the country.
Yeah, and well, therein I think is one of the issues. I think that like we keep saying, there's a more deep-rooted problem than the manager. Obviously, the manager, for me, like you've already stated it, but it's way Fulham are the only club who've conceded more goals than we have in the Premier League. We've lost our last 4 on the bounce. We've beaten our record twice for drubbings in the Premier League in 2 successive away games. And, you know, people were still banging on after Huddersfield saying, you know, we're back, you know, we're playing really well. We said it was Huddersfield. Look what happened in the next game. And there's you know, not saying any names, but, you know, I'm not, we're not representing everyone's thoughts. This is why that you've got someone who's sorry, and this is why you've got someone who is kind of sat on the fence in me, and obviously you are
more one way than a little bit now.
Yeah, what are you now?
I'm more towards Sarri out, but it's not totally down to Sarri is my reasoning for that.
Yeah, well, no, I agree, but I think it's kind of a case of, look, there's people that are trying to. Well, I'm not here to make a whole debate saying he has to go, you have to do this, you have to do that. I'm not here for just views. I'm not here to just say something. And there's people that left after 25 minutes who say they represent fan bases and all of that, and they don't do that. Quite frankly, and you know, like I said, not naming names. But look, we're here to have an actual debate. We actually have to have an actual discussion. Let's go down the reasoning as to why there is an issue right now at Chelsea. We've already found one in Roman Abramovich, to be honest, isn't allowed in the country. So the way he runs the club and the way he did stuff, i.e. going down to the ground in Cobham and stuff and sorting it out, he can't do that anymore. He physically can't. We don't have a director of football. I think that's another one. Player power is another issue. And there's no doubt that it's not.
Yeah.
People saying that we don't think that there isn't an issue, and you know it's just down to it or whatever. It is an issue. There's no doubt about it.
Can I bring up something on that?
Go on.
I don't remember where I saw it, but it was a John Obi Mikel quote, and he was saying that if we were playing poorly, and at half time there'd be John Terry throwing stuff around the dressing room, players holding onto each other's necks. Me and you watched the tunnel cam for City 6, Chelsea 0. Now, I'm not gonna say anything about, because you could see on the faces of those players, they weren't happy with the result. I will give them that. But you compare that to John Terry's era, would we be standing around wanting to swap shirts now? Would we be doing any sorts? And I know I'm sounding like one of those older Yadars when I say stuff like that. But you think about the mentality.
Well, I don't even think it's just that. When you were saying I was watching the players' faces, they looked upset. But they're like, oh, we've lost. There was nothing. Marcos Alonso is a prime example when he only walked off the pitch.
That pissed me off. That and one other thing pissed me off that game more than anything.
Player power is an issue. I mean, look, put it this way. It was an issue when John Terry was about, when Frank Lampard was about, Drogba. You could see that was kind of one of the reasons that Andre Villas-Boas was sacked. But these were players that, for me, wanted the best for our club. They wanted to do it the right way. They had their heads screwed on. Whereas it feels a bit me with these players. Yep. It's all individuals.
Yeah. Do you remember what we saw? I showed you that quote from The Independent. Apparently, some of the players are now complaining that the system is too tactical and there's too much being asked of all of them. And I'm being honest, when I hear something like that, I'm thinking, what did you ask for? Last season, everyone was complaining about Conte's system. Now you're complaining that this system is too tactical. I think it's just a case of, with these players, there's a lot of them that maybe just aren't smart enough.
I don't even think it's that. I think if you go to any top club in the world, unless they hire a manager who is only managed at small clubs, you're going to be playing a highly tactical system. You look at Pep's system, Klopp's system, the system over the years at Real Madrid.
Systems.
But you look at the system over at Real Madrid over the years, like Barcelona. If you want to play for a top team, you have to get used to playing in a tactical system.
Yeah, I think this is it. And there are mediocre players in that team. Ross Barkley, again, no game management, poor. I thought no player could come out holding their head high. Azpilicueta has been, we've been so worried about him at the fullback for a while.
Yeah.
As a fullback in a possession-based system, he is going to have to push higher up the pitch. And when he's there saying to Sarri in the games as the season was going on at the beginning, saying, "Look, I don't know if I can do that. I can't." And he keeps doing it. It doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. And again, this to me comes down to the point where I say Sarri needs to adapt. And that's a rule of thumb for life.
Here's the thing, though.
In general, adapt or die. But
Here's the thing for you. Let's look at right back. Azpilicueta, let's say he's playing poorly. Who do we put there? Zappacosta. This is the thing. You look at the bench. There's not really much you could put there. There's questions for up front if you want to talk about the youth and Hudson-Odoi and Loftus-Cheek, and I get that. But if you look at the back, bar our best back four, you could put Andreas Christensen in to swap one of the centre backs. But other than that, there's not much. There's been cases for Emerson. I get that, and Emerson's had good games where he's shown that, but he's also had bad games as well.
Emerson for me is again a mediocre player. Marcos Alonso, mediocre.
Marcos Alonso is terrible. Emerson's better, but it's a mediocre player for a poor player. It's not exactly a
this is. But I mean, I said this at the beginning of the season, and again, there's me saying something again, which has been proved right. Marcos Alonso as a conventional left back does not make sense. That is not his position. He plays wing back. That's fine because there's cover. There's a third centre half for him to kind of have that leverage to go up the pitch and not come back like he normally does. At left back, you've got David Luiz and Rudiger. Rudiger, yeah, decent player. Again, respect what he did coming over to the fans at the end of the game. Luiz has proven, against the top teams in the back two, he cannot do it. And we've known this since we signed him the first time round, where he's a liability in that position. Whereas in the back three, you had Azpilicueta, you had Luiz, and you had Rudiger, as an example.
Yeah.
Luiz had the freedom to make those movements, to go out and pass and do what he needed to do, because he had the cover of arguably one of the best defenders on the planet in Azpilicueta, and Rudiger, who is, I'd say, a very solid player. But I think the biggest thing is at centre half, we are struggling there. We're struggling at fullback. Azpilicueta should be being played as a centre half, in my opinion, alongside Luiz or alongside Rudiger. But we're too busy trying to play this one system, which is play out from the back. There were times yesterday when you're 3-0 down, stop playing out from the back, because City were putting the pressure on.
No, but I saw instances where we panicked, and instead of passing out from the back, we just hoofed it. And here's the thing, when we're all sitting deep trying to protect ourselves from City's attack, all Man City have to do in terms of their defence is just put two players on Higuain.
I think Higuain's the one player who can kind of hold his head high, because he was making runs similar to Bournemouth and he just wasn't being found. And when there were a couple of chances, like he had one from, was it Kante? When it was 0-0 right near the start, and he went for a volley and he kind of scuffed it. But apart from that, it's again, he's making the runs. And now, granted it was City and the whole team was poor and we got spanked 6-0, but there is now no excuse in terms of, for the people that say players aren't finding people, there's no runs. There are runs being made.
No.
And no one's finding them.
Well, this is it. And I just feel that there is issue after issue after issue. We've spoken about player power. We've spoken about Sarri and his tactics, quite frankly. I mean, look, you're saying we don't have the quality of players to play a system. It's as simple as that. I'm going to say that now. Or the system which everyone wants to see, which I'm so sick of hearing week in, week out. Everyone talking about bloody Sarri ball. I'm sorry, this isn't Sarri ball, but can we give it a rest? Because the game which you see in Napoli, sending us pictures and videos of people that are playing for Napoli, is a completely different team to Chelsea. No two things are exactly the same. That is the reality of it.
But that's the case of transition. If we're not prepared to transition, why did we bring him in?
Well, no, this is it. I don't. Well, it's true. I mean, Terry's there, making the exact point. Do you want to hop in for 2 minutes and say something? Because you're making a lot of noise there. So
No, I will. Just for 30 seconds. This man is right. Right. What I'd say about Chelsea, real quick. Chelsea fans, I hope you're all feeling okay today. No, that'll pick me up. I would say this: you can't bring a manager like Sarri in if you're not going to give him the time to implement his philosophy.
Yeah.
I keep hearing people say he has to change his philosophy. Now, I get he might have to compromise in areas. I would, for instance, look at putting Kante back into the holding midfield role and adapting it slightly. But he plays a certain style of football. He's going to want to play that way or leave. I think what you said right. I don't think the players want to play that way. I don't think they're all behind him. I don't think they're all motivated. And the reason I believe Sarri when he says that is because it's the third manager on the bounce in a 3.5 to 4 year period who have said very similar things. So you get to a stage where your club has allowed player power to become an intrinsic part of the culture of Chelsea Football Club. The fans are culpable because you have seen your greatest ever manager, you have seen a legend player who then wins you the Champions League treated like absolute garbage. Even the way people like Ashley Cole that were part of your golden generation, the way they were allowed to just leave very unceremoniously, not offered new deals, not kept. I mean, the guy still was playing at a decent level when he left you guys and could have done a job for you, but I think he was disrespected. But because fans have allowed that to happen, because what was happening is you were getting rid of a manager that you may have loved, new guy was coming in, you had more money than every other club in England at the time, even more than any other European club at that stage. And because you then bounced back very quickly and won more titles, won more cups, you guys kind of just accepted it because you were winning the lottery every year. Now with the competitiveness in the Premier League changing, City being this superpower that run brilliantly, Spurs now being a top side, which none of us expected to see ever happening.
Yeah.
Because of the emergence of those teams and the European elites such as Paris Saint-Germain and all those guys growing further and further away from Premier League teams over the last 5 years, Chelsea are suddenly not able just to bounce back by changing their manager all of a sudden. And I think there's a big panic sitting in amongst fans that this normally works when we change a manager. It normally works almost straight away.
I wouldn't say that's the case. I don't think the changing manager, that last bit, I definitely don't think it's that. I think it's just a case of everything you said though is so true. The fact that normally when we do change it up and winning trophies, look, everyone loves winning a trophy. There's no doubt about that. It does paper over the cracks. But for example, last season for me was the first time I really properly noticed the power shift with the players. I think the biggest thing for me was that there's the player, like I was saying earlier, player power at Chelsea in that golden generation. Yes, it was an issue, but at the same time, because you had that spine of phenomenal players and almost players that use the player power for the club rather than to better themselves, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I feel that it worked out.
And that core's now gone, and what you're left with is the remnants of that.
Yeah.
And it's evolved in a different way. And I think that younger players now, beyond the Drogba, Terry era of football players, I think they are more sensitive. I think they do need an arm around them a lot more. Now, I've seen that at my club, Manchester United, with Jose Mourinho. And in terms of he didn't do the right things to manage them. But equally, 6 or 7 months in, and for me, I mean, Eden Hazard said it in an interview when they questioned him about Sarri's comments about you, and his actual words were, "I don't care what the manager says." For me, I think if my manager has a go at me publicly or privately, I should care. And I truly believe, by the look on his face and the way he said it, I don't think he gives a damn because he's in control at Chelsea. If me and the boys in the dressing room play, you'll keep your job. If I don't, you're done and you're finished. And Chelsea have got a very good squad of players. Yes, I think it needs to be improved. Yes, I think you could go out there and bring in better. But there's this narrative going around that you've almost got this like League One standard squad. The only good player out there is Eden Hazard, and it's really tough and it's really difficult. But if that is the case and your squad isn't good enough, then Sarri can't be to blame because he hasn't got the tools to complete his job with. But I think there's a bit of both. You need to improve the squad, but equally, Sarri needs to be given the players that he needs. And again, we've seen it under Jose, followed by Conte. Players sold that they wanted to keep. Not enough time to develop youngsters, i.e. Kevin De Bruyne and Salah being sold before they were at their best because they weren't ready-made stars. Lukaku, because they were not ready-made stars. The club's decision. No manager sells or buys players at Chelsea for over a decade. They have an input, but they don't make decisions on these things. And they were part of the reasons that those managers fell out. Matic being sold, Conte didn't want that either. He wanted him to stay at the club. And on top of that, not landing and bringing in the personnel that they want to fit their style and system. And it comes to a point, and the one thing Chelsea don't have that Barcelona do is a philosophy of style that you bring a manager in to say you're going to play our style of football and these players suit it. Chelsea, it used to kind of be, without being disrespectful, like a millionaire's Stoke. It was quite pragmatic football, but with brilliant players, big, strong, skillful. And it wasn't ever like Barcelona-esque or Arsenal in their best. It was effective, a very pragmatic style of football. I think it was. The problem you've got is you've gone through a few managers now where you've tried to change the style, but you're not giving them the tools, the personnel, and most importantly, time to implement it. So I feel really sorry for Sarri, but he's falling into the same trap that the previous two managers have done. He's taken the fight with the players public. He's taken his fight already with the board kind of public in some of his comments yesterday about I don't know where the president, I think he referred to.
He was talking about Abramovich,
he talked about him as the president, don't know where he is. it sounds like don't really speak to him. So he's taken these fights very public. I don't agree with that, but equally fans have to look at it and think, 3 managers on the bounce have done the same thing. We need to start looking inwards. We need to start challenging that. Or too many fans scared to, because Abramovich is the reason that you've had the success, and are people scared to bite the hand that feeds? That's a question I'd ask. But I'm going to leave you guys to chat about that. I've hijacked enough. I've got some broccoli and chicken.
Oh, very nice. Enjoy it. See you later.
Thank you.
I mean, okay, so Terry's made the point there of saying Sarri's taken that public. It's 3 managers. You are the manager of Chelsea Football Club, the pair of you. Actually, Javone, can you capture this, please? Okay. So you two, you are the managers of Chelsea Football Club. Not together, you know, you both got your own separate reigns. You got sacked after 3 years, you've got sacked after 3 years, but, you know, you're currently in the job.
Yep.
What would you do differently as soon as you walk through the door with that club, if you had the options and you had the freedom to make those choices? You go first, Scott.
Have I got the option of buying? I'm going to ask first. Have I got the option of like going to the board and saying I want this player, I want that player, and they will get them for me? Then I'd focus on number one. I'd focus on that defense. I have to focus on that defense. It doesn't matter anything. Nothing else matters. I need to make sure that defense knows exactly what they're doing every single game, because at the end of the day, that's the one thing I feel he hasn't done at the club. Sorry. We've played. It is an attacking style of football. I understand that, but he's dealing with the defence that have got 2 fullbacks that have got no legs. A centre back is a liability at times, and the other centre back can't do the job of the other 3 defenders by himself. So that's the first thing I do. Honestly, apart from that, I can't see what else I'd do differently. I wouldn't take stuff public, but I think Terry had a point we've spoken about where you can't really. If anything, I go for the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer style of management, where it seems like he's just been with the players at United. He's given them a morale boost,
Giving them freedom.
Yeah, and apart from that, I can't see what else you do. The position at Chelsea Football Club at this point is untenable. Whoever you bring in at this, unless it's a Lampard or a Terry or an old legend, it's nearly untenable.
I mean, we'll get onto that afterwards, because that's definitely something I want to talk about, because me and Lewis speaking about on the car on the way over. Right, you walk to the front door. It is June 2019. Sarri's been sacked. You now have a job to do at Chelsea Football Club, as well as signing players you want. What else would you do differently to Scott?
First thing I do is I sort out the winger situation, because we've got 2 of the oldest wingers in the league. One of Willian and Pedro would have to go.
Who would you want?
Here's the thing. If Willian would accept a lesser role, I'd keep him. Because I think his experience, I think him in Championship... Because think about it. Let's look at little things. Like little 3rd round games of the Cup. The guy plays like a mini Hazard.
Yeah.
Let's give him that sort of quality. In those smaller games, he could be a lot better. But Pedro's also the oldest. He'd be the more likely to go. So I'd keep Willian, Hudson-Odoi, Pulisic. I'd have Hudson-Odoi and Pulisic fighting over the number 1 spot. In terms of the striker situation...
Would you keep Higuain?
It ain't been long enough for me to make a call.
No.
I'd say his movement is still world class, and if you give him any little bit of space, he will find the net. He's a quality striker, so I wouldn't be against keeping him. Number 1 aim would be keeping Eden Hazard. For the defence, I'm not gonna lie, David Luiz is a great passer of the ball. His long passes are great, but I feel like it saves him. Because if it wasn't for him, him being so rash and those little mistakes that he keeps making is the difference between a world-class defender and a good defender, so he'd have to go. What else would I do?
Would you consider... I'm now outside of the squad. I'm looking outside of that. I'm looking at directors of football.
Yeah.
Oh, you're looking at
I'd
I'm
insist on
philosophy.
a director of football company.
They call me Mike Bassett for a reason, Lewis.
For philosophy, I play a defensive style because the team's more suited to it.
Okay.
And I played, because even when you look at us under Sarri, I'm looking at games like Watford away, brilliant on the break. But we were trying to play a more possession-based football.
At home.
Yeah, like Manchester City at home as well.
Yeah, if I know you're talking about, don't worry. We're not talking about the away game.
No, but the fact is the team is built for a defensive team on the break. So especially with the lack of time that Sarri has right now, I'd stick to what the team's good at. But the thing is, that's not what Sarri's been brought to do. That's why he's not doing that. So if he does get sacked, it's stupid from the board, because that's another payout that they're going to have to do, and that's more money gone with a 2-year potential transfer ban on the line. This is what I mean by we're short-sighted.
I want to point out as well that will be even more money, because we had to sign, wasn't it, a 6 million release clause to get Sarri, because he was technically still under contract at Napoli. 8. So that'll be more money wasted.
Now, here's the thing. Sarri knows how to deal with tough managers. He's dealt with the Napoli owner for 3 years.
Yeah, no,
and he
no,
openly criticised him in the media.
Yeah, I mean, De Laurentiis is a different animal to this Chelsea board. He is a nut job. I think that's the way
No,
to
but
put
this
it.
is the thing. I think Surrey can cope.
He can, but what I'm saying is, there's ineptability and being mental. I think it's a case of this Chelsea board, to be honest,
comes across as inept. It comes across as, apart from Abramovich, but we don't see him, it comes across as they have no competence in their job.
Well, see, and I said yesterday, I put a tweet out saying, look, you know, if you think that this squad can get top four, if you think that there aren't more deep-rooted issues at this club, then you're blind. I put Marina out. That's my opinion anyway.
I saw that, yeah.
And I've been that for years. You look through the comments of that, I'm being called stupid, dumb, all this type of stuff because I've said Marina out. Because she's the mouthpiece of Roman Abramovich. She works alongside him. She is his number 2, but she is not the overarching... I personally wouldn't say that she is Roman 2.0.
No,
she's not.
She doesn't look like the type of person that when it's all going wrong and Roman's not available, she doesn't look like the type of person who's going to come down on him like a bloody sledgehammer.
Yeah, and exactly. But this is it. And I mean, I don't have confidence in her in her job. Look, she's great at getting deals across the line.
Absolutely.
Don't get me wrong. I think she's superb at that, and that was people's argument after this transfer. Like Pulisic, Higuain. We made some good signings. It looks solid, and she's given herself a saving grace. But again, this is the short termness. This is the fickleness, which I always talk about. And if you look at my track record about being right about stuff when it comes to negative stuff at Chelsea and having a glass half empty mentality, 80% of the time I'm pretty bang on. This club needs a director of football, and that's my opinion. So if I was to run the club, for example, director of football, I'd work alongside them because let's be honest, Chelsea don't have the manager role anymore. You sign a contract, you're head coach, and that was the issue with Conte. If Conte had signed a contract which is manager, that'd be fine. But you'd have a director of football. Big fan of either there was Belletti and Michael Ballack we were linked with. Big fans of them. Ballack especially.
He looks like he's got his head screwed on. He's got a large knowledge of a few leagues. And yeah, he's worked. I want to say he's worked with other clubs before, like other clubs in similar roles. I could be wrong, or he's at least worked alongside like.
Well, he was
Leverkusen
and like a player coach at Leverkusen at the end. So I think it's a case of this is a guy who understands Chelsea Football Club as well. Cares about the club. He did a fucking fan cam with me after we beat Everton 5-0. He just stopped and right, let's go. I'm like, oh, okay. There's nothing I can't ask you. Nothing like that. No, just go.
I miss when we were on the other end of scores like that.
Yeah, I miss that as well. But it's kind of a case of like, look, it's a big thing. Wow, there's 1.3 thousand people watching. Thank you very much for all you that are watching as well, by the way. Hi.
So.
But yeah, it's kind of a case of I'd have a director of football. I'd want to be guaranteed security. That's the big thing for me. I'd say, look, I want 2 years, and I'd go in with that mentality straight away, saying, look, I'd bulldoze straight away. I say, look, these are the issues. This is this. This is that. This is that. The reason Fergie did so well at United is because he had absolute control. If I sign a contract, I'm not signing it as head coach, and that is where every manager at Chelsea for the past 4 years has gone wrong. That's why Conte didn't work. That's why Sarri's not working currently because of the short-termism of the board of how we operate as a club. Mourinho went in with the manager role. That was written on the contract, but he wasn't given it. So there's been massive issues, but that's what I do anyway. But obviously, leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Thank you very much, Javern. But yeah, it's kind of a case of that's how we need to roll. Chelsea does need a massive revamp. It needs a rebrand. I think there's so much more that needs to be done. This is from the board, the manager, the players. The mentality has to change. If this is the kick up the arse we needed for the next 18 months with Sarri, fine. I'm fine with that. We lost 3-0 to Arsenal. Obviously, I wasn't happy with the piping. I'm not happy with this piping either. But it helped us win the league. It helped us change our mindset. It helped us move forward. That is my mentality. And that's what I've been thinking about for the past day, where obviously I lost my shit last night, and rightly so. I mean, it was a review after the game, waking up at 6:30, having had no sleep as well. Basically, I left at 6:30. I'd been awake for 36 hours at that point. So that's probably why I was so angry as well, to be honest, to see that shite. But I mean, yeah, there's so much more. But I mean, one thing we do need to look at, obviously we asked you guys some stuff earlier. Javon, can you capture this, please? We had? Awesome. So obviously we put a tweet out earlier. This is going to be a new segment that we do. And it's called, we're going to call it Twitter Reacts, obviously. And we can change the name because everyone has Twitter Reacts and a lot of stuff as well. We put out a tweet earlier saying, send us your thoughts of yesterday's poor showing below. and we've had a few responses. So thank you to you guys for all sending in responses. And we're going to go through a few of them now. One of them I want to look at is we'll start with something a bit more light-hearted. It is taking the piss out of us, but it's quite a good one. It comes in from Pele Bertie, and it says, Huddersfield, crying. Man City, hey, what is it? Huddersfield, Chelsea beat us 5-0. Man City, hold my beer. That's one we'll start with, and we'll just leave it at that. But we got one here from Peter Fabry, says, overpaid bunch of fuckers. Gary Lee says, utter shite.
Yep.
Father CFC 216 says, too many pussies, but we still keep them. It's like being in a relationship and you just carry on for the sake of the kids. Wow. I mean, yeah.
Jeez.
It's a start, but I mean, this is another one here. It's literally the same stuff. Lost for words, to be honest. Losing 4-0 to Bournemouth is utter crap. Losing 6-0 to City is unacceptable. Don't know what to say anymore. And then we'll go into this one, which is something which we love talking about, especially me, because apparently I have an agenda, even though I don't.
Is this Jorginho by chance?
It is Jorginho! Wish Jorginho was more physical. I'm sorry. When I say adapt, for example, under sorry, you know what Terry's saying about playing Kante deeper as a DM, blah, 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 and stuff. People saying it's your dial, all of that. I'm not saying move Jorginho forward. I'm saying adapt the system to what we have, because like in life in general, it is adapt or die.
Yeah.
And if you don't agree with me, I don't really give a shit. I personally would like to see a 4-2-3-1. Maybe just attempt it. Have a look at it. I'd like to see Jorginho and Kante sitting together. Kante has adapted fantastically to his position. I'm not saying he's playing badly. I think Kante has been absolutely superb. But
you need to give cover for Jorginho. You need to cover for his weaknesses.
Exactly. And Jorginho's weaknesses are literally having the no-touch policy in a strip club when he's tackling and defending. Yesterday, the first couple of goals, you look at the corners of the boxes. I haven't really watched it. I don't particularly plan to. But from what I saw, you saw Jorginho come to the edge of the box, marking Kevin De Bruyne on 2 occasions. Both times, he let him go past him. He just stroked him, basically. He turned around, De Bruyne has gone, moved the ball, Aguero's in. That was the 2-0. That was how the 2-0 happened, in my opinion. Players not keeping track of players, and obviously there was other players as well that weren't doing that. But for me, Jorginho was a player I focused on the edge of that box because I wanted to see how he was dealing with the pressure. He can't cope with it. That's my opinion anyway. And I just feel that there's so much more that could be done. And I just think maybe if he had some cover, who knows, we could give that a go. But that's the nature of the beast, unfortunately. CFC Sports says, what does everyone think? Why does everyone think Ruben Loftus-Cheek got Ampadu as the proper reason to get top 4? Last goal was a Loftus-Cheek mistake. Very simple. I don't think they're the reason to get top 4. I think it'd be nice to blood them.
Yeah.
I don't really know why he's seeing that one mistake as a reason to not start him.
I
thought Loftus-Cheek offered quite a bit when he came on. He was driving down into Man City's half on multiple occasions.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I get his point though in terms of and this comes down to the issue of not having the squad, where for us to get top 4, we're relying on players that have either barely featured, i.e. Ampadu, or are featuring but have never been in a situation where they have to contend for top 4. They've never been in a top 4 club, effectively. And I do think that is a bit of a worry. But again, that just comes down to squad and not getting players in.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's just a mentality issue.
I think there's so much more. Like we said, we've already addressed. There's so much to it. There's one I just saw here, which will be the last one we do, because we've got a couple of other bits we want to get on and touch on this live stream as well. Where is it? I've lost it. It's gone. There it is. I think that Sarri has to take some of the blame, but we have not addressed issues when we have won. Conte wanted to flip his title-winning side. He relies on managers pulling off master jobs and winning trophies, and that's cool. But we don't always look to get better. That comes in from Jared Andre 3, and I agree. Now this is again, I'm going to go back to Conte. Now, Antonio Conte, in the end, it was right to sack him. It was toxic. He wasn't happy. Stuff wasn't working out, and for the betterment of everybody, rather than shifting on 7, 8, 9 players, which we might not have been able to do, and obviously the way we run our transfer policy, we couldn't have replaced them with who he wanted, and all of that stuff. And it was better to get rid of one man rather than them. This issue for me lies in the fact that we've already addressed. Let's be honest. This side that won the league, the players we have now won the league 2-3 years ago. Okay. Realistically, though, let's be honest. That league title was a fluke. Now, I'm not saying we weren't the best team that season. We were amazing that season. We played some great football, but it was down to the tactics of the manager. That's what I think. I think he used what he had and he fitted square pegs in square holes.
I do think, to an extent, I agree with you, but I'd say it more as, I think because Conte revolutionised English football to an extent with how we did with the 3-4-3, that's what got us there. Add to the fact that because we didn't have Champions League football, we had so many free midweeks. Those little things as well, they do come up to it, but I'll also say you don't win a league title by fluke.
No. You know what I mean? I don't mean by fluke. I'm not sitting there saying, I'm not being that geezer who called in during the FA Cups Man United game last year saying when Chelsea win the league, it's a massive fluke. That season we were the best in the league. That's because we revolutionised the system. That's because we played with the tactics 3-4-3. Which no one hadn't said to him for years. No one could counter it, and he did what he needed to do with the tactics. It worked out. We lost 3-0 to Arsenal when we were playing Chelsea system. He said we're going to do it my way now. He went and did it. Fantastic. We won the league. Superb. Thing we didn't do, in my opinion, with what was probably the third or fourth, maybe even fifth best squad on paper in the league that year, when we won it, we didn't go, oh my God, you've won us the Premier League. Right.
What do you want?
What do you want? And this is it. And this is where it goes wrong. He's there going, right, I want this one. I want to keep Matic. I want to bring in this player. I want to bring Alexandro. I want to bring in Lukaku. I want to do this. I want to do that. We moved too slow on Lukaku. We only put a bid in after Man United do it. After that, when they know that we've registered an interest. We sell Nemanja Matic and we replace him with Bakayoko, which on paper everyone thought was a great move. Again, Louis Beneventi was right, saying
I thought Matic should have stayed as depth.
I thought Matic should have stayed as depth. We got rid of Nathaniel Chalobah as well, which was another player, which was good for depth the season we won the league. Again, another player I said, why did we get rid of him? He's better than Timu Bakayoko. Again, I was right. But it's kind of a case of you've got... We didn't go in and reinvest, and you've already brought the point up. Drinkwater, Morata, who else? Bakayoko, we've already said that window. We've invested in players that didn't improve the squad, didn't make us better. Zappacosta as well.
Emerson came in that year, but I think he's been the one exception.
Giroud came in January.
Yeah.
Barkley came in January.
He was the year before, but was injured, so he didn't play till that season.
We brought him in January for 15 mil.
Yeah.
That's why we...
No, we were going to get him. But then I don't remember why, but it fell through.
It was in January. He didn't want to go. He wanted to.
I remember his first game was an FA Cup game or a cup game, and he was dreadful.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. It was Arsenal. But yeah, there's so much more that was there, and you know, we don't back our managers, and I think this is a time where we need to turn around, and the board need to reinvigorate themselves. They need to back a manager again. Why Fergie was so successful? If you didn't want to press someone from the press in the press conferences, you go in. Who's he? Yeah, he's a twat. Get him out. He'd then score up to him outside if they were there again, and saying stuff about his players. Players didn't perform. I mean, sorry, he does it. He yells at him in the dressing room. Goes, right, you've done this wrong, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, there's yelling at him and wagging a finger, and there's kicking a boot at David Beckham's head. Because let's be honest, if it was me personally in that dressing room yesterday, I understand players need a bit more of an arm around them, and you'd say that. If you're 4-0 down, 3-4-0 down, at half-time, to the champions, when you beat them 2-0 at home, there wouldn't have been boots flying. There would have been food. There would have been all their shit. Everything would be flying at them because there's a lack of leadership for me, in my opinion, from that perspective. But I mean, I don't know.
No. I was just gonna build on that and go back to the point I was saying about how the older team would have been going at each other. Yeah. But I don't feel like there's. I feel Sarri is. But in terms of players, I don't really know who's doing it.
There's a couple. I feel like Rudiger is. If you listen to some of his interviews and some of his comments, like after the Bournemouth game, he's one of those players I can see who goes into the players.
And we'll insert Lewis's clip obviously in here at some point, because obviously Lewis.
Azpilicueta feel like is another one. He seems like a leader. He seems like he cares. David Luiz at times feel like he cares. But apart from those three, there aren't many.
Hazard's a player that leads by example.
Yeah, he will lead by example on the pitch. I feel off the pitch, not so much.
Yeah, and I mean, and this is it. But I mean, there's so much more for us to talk about and go through. But obviously, we're going to be doing this every week. Twitter reacts. So obviously, make sure you get your comments in after the next game as well. But thank you very much, Javern. Last thing we need to do, because we didn't do it yesterday because it was chucking it down with rain and the battery died and all that stuff. Let's do the player ratings. So Javern, can you capture this, please? Thank you. So obviously, this is the player ratings for Manchester City 6, Chelsea 0. Fucking Christ. I mean, I wouldn't. No, you know what? Right, Lewis, this is your show. Lewis, Scott, I will chip in, but I would just want to hear what you two have to say about all of this. Let's get straight into the player ratings. I'll get them up on my laptop. I'll read them out. And Lewis, you can take the lead on this one. So we'll start in goal. Rodney. Or Kepa. For those of you who don't know, he's called Rodney now. He's not called Keith.
Kepa, I'll say by Kepa's standards, he had a poor game. And let's be real, he conceded 6, so we can't get a good rating anyway. But I feel in terms of the goals that he's going to get blamed for, I think only one of them he really can get. I know the Aguero one, the goal, everyone was saying that he should have got a stronger hand to it. Here's the thing.
That was an insane goal.
Here's the thing. Yeah, I remember start of the season, I was speaking a lot about Kepa and saying that his strength behind the ball needs to improve, and it has. Over the last couple of months, he's been so good. So I'm not going to look at that sort of goal. I just think it's a great goal by Aguero. And Kepa just couldn't get a hand to it.
Is it Aguero is now joint with Alan Shearer for most Premier League hat-tricks, and is argued for me one of the most underrated centre-forwards the Premier League has ever
He's
seen.
never won a Player of the Year.
He's never won a Player of the Year?
I think I read somewhere he's never won
and one team of the season, did you say?
Yeah, last season. He won, and I think he was only 5th highest goal scorer.
Enough said. But I mean, he's an amazing centre-forward, and you know the goal he scored yesterday, fair play to him, credit, superb.
But yeah, the
Mike
only
Dean
one
put in a performance as well when he decided to award that penalty, and I wanted to slap him like most football.
Well, it was a penalty though.
It was.
But it was
Mike Dean being Mike Dean.
To be fair, at least he was less Mike Dean than normal. There was no
red
apart
card.
from that. There was no red card. There was no arrogance. Apart from
there was no arrogance.
It didn't look like there was much arrogance. Apart from the penalty thing.
I mean, you are a licensed referee, so I mean, I'm going to take your word on that.
Trust me, I've seen many a Mike Dean in a Sunday League.
That's fair enough. But let's move on, Dave.
2 or 3 probably.
2.
I don't see anyone. For me, no one in the team that's higher than a 4, and there's only one. No, there's 2 players that get a 4.
There's one I'd give a 5. That's me being overly nice. Though.
That's fair. I feel me. It's like you said, 6-0. No one can really get a good rating. That's why.
6. But I mean, Dave, I'd give a 2.
He was very, very bad yesterday.
I mean, it's the nature of the beast, unfortunately. Rudiger. Now, I said there was only one player I could give him 5. Just because of what he did post game.
That's why I'm saying he's a 3 for me.
In game, out of the back 4, I thought he was the most safe one out of the lot.
Most competent. Yeah, I agree.
I'm gonna say a 3 just because we conceded 6, and the reason he's gonna get more than Luiz is because of what he did at the end.
Go on.
I'm feeling to go. Based on the rest of the back 4, I'm feeling to go for a 4 for Rudiger, but I don't think I'm going any higher with anyone else.
Okay, I'm going to go 4. I'll drop my rating, but I think, Antonio Rudiger, just for his...
Yeah, for the stuff at the end, needs to be commended.
I was down at the front, you were filming it. The way that he... The way that he came over straight away.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I recorded the whole thing on the vlog. Rudiger just walked straight, head up, chest up. He's ready to do it. Yeah. He's happy to do it. I remember even... I could hear him mouthing to one of the fans, I came here to say sorry.
Yeah,
I came here to say sorry.
He was like, I want to say sorry. Like, we are really sorry.
He meant it.
He was speaking to me and CFC Dave, just saying like, look, just tell him we're sorry. And he's speaking to Dave, speaking to the guy, and saying, look, if you've got an issue, when he was waving at the guy, saying, look, if you want to throw something, if you've got a real issue, come say it to my face. And to be honest, I respect him so much for what he's done there. But I mean, what else we got? Here we go. David Luiz.
2.
2. Yeah. I don't think anything else needs to be said because we've addressed it already. Alonso.
1.
Can we give him a 0?
No, worst player on the pitch. He pissed me off. 1.
Can we give him a 0?
So predictable, man.
That bit.
Every damn time.
That substitution. I never wanted to play that substitution. Like you don't walk off the pitch. Barkley had a shit game. He ran off the pitch. Pedro had a shit game. He ran off the pitch. You don't walk off the pitch when you're 5-0 down, head down, looking at the floor. Alonso just has a
very lazy thing about him. And when you're covering that entire left flank, you can't have that.
1 or 0? What are you giving him?
I'm giving it a 1 because a 0. You can't really rate someone a 0. You've got to give him a rating.
He walked off the pitch.
Only player I've given
arrogance. He's predictable. He's slow. He doesn't fit the system. He is lazy. It almost seems like he doesn't care.
Yeah, I say 1 just because I feel like you can't give a 0. Like I don't think you can give a 0 to a player, but if you can, then 0.
I'm very harsh on that type of stuff, and this is why me and Lewis balance out quite well.
Only player I've given a 0 was Bakayoko against Watford, I think. So I'm gonna give Alonso a 1.
Actually, that's a good point. If that's the case, I think he was as bad because
Oh
he had
no,
a whole.
Bakayoko didn't even last the first.
Yeah,
half.
no, I saw that game. That he was bad, but with the
You
stuff
saw-
Alonso
now
did,
imagine being there.
yeah,
Jesus, that was disgusting. N'Golo Kante.
he's one of the 2 players I'm gonna give a 4
4?
because he can't do. He tries to do everything for the other 2 midfielders. He's like Rudiger in terms of what I said earlier about he has to compensate for the other 2 midfielders in a game like this. And as much as he can do, he can't do everything. And he works his hardest all the time. So yeah, 4 for me.
When the system falls apart like that and you got a player like Kante, he's just going to keep trying to get the ball.
4.
And I feel with the way that we all fell apart, and at least with Kante trying, I'd give him a 3.
3.
Yeah. Based on the fact that the system fell apart and it contributed to him having a poorer game.
I thought again Kante was the most professional one out of a lot of them. Him and Rudiger.
Oh, no.
All that.
Kante was professional. But I felt like as the game continued, he started to take the game more for himself. And I feel like that contributed to us failing a little bit more. Not saying anything against Kante, at least he was trying. But I'm talking about as the game, I'd probably give him a 3.
Yeah, I'd say 3. We'll give you
I can understand why he's giving a 3.
So we'll go 3 for that. Can I just give the Jorginho rating? Can we move on?
I was going to say 1.
Yeah.
1 couldn't do anything.
Cool, let's move on. Ross Barkley,
1.
Move on, don't need to say anything else. Pedro,
2. Didn't really give a lot going forward, to be honest.
Higuain.
He's the other one I'm giving a 4 because he had next to nothing to work with, but still made those runs and he worked hard going forward. He's dealing with, in my opinion, one of the best centre backs in the league and also a very other good centre back. And he had not a lot to work with and still put in a shift.
I might be a bit harsh here. I'm going to go for a 3, but it's only because one of his clearances did end up leading to one of the goals.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
agree.
fair.
3, I agree. I think he again, you know, it's just one
He
of
did
those.
what he had to do, and I get Higuain ain't a defender. I get that, but in terms of the game, I'd still go for a 3.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'd say 3. We'll go for that as well. We haven't even spoken about him today because he was that invisible. Mr. Eden Hazard.
3.
First half he tried. I'll give him that. Second half, by that point, for everyone, the game was done. So, Hazard,
I'll give him a 2.
I'm thinking 2-2.
2-2.
2.
2-2-2-2.
Wish it was 2-2.
Same.
2.
Yeah, I'm giving a 3.
3. I'm gonna go.
Just because I don't think he was as bad as people like Pedro, David Luiz, Aspi, etc.
I agree.
I didn't think it was that bad, but I thought to an extent he was as ineffective.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 2. That's my opinion anyway, and I think he wasn't as effective, but at the same time he didn't really offer much either.
Yeah.
He tried, but look, he can't do it on his own. But he was poor yesterday. Sorry. Now go through the substitutions. We'll just knock these ones off quickly. Emerson.
I'm not giving him a rating because I don't remember him doing anything, and he was just brought in right near the end of the game.
I don't even remember him coming on.
I don't
even remember him
You
coming
do
on.
because of that stupid Marcus Alonso shit, but
I remember him
apart
coming
from
on,
that,
but that's
No,
it.
I watched Alonso go off.
Oh, then
and
you looked down.
while he was walking, I was like, yeah, no, he's walking. I'm just going to stop looking, otherwise I'm going to get
That's
really
fair.
vexed really quickly. So obviously Emerson came on, didn't do anything. 73rd minute, that is warranting, by my rules anyway, as someone who's done player ratings before, if they've had 15, 20 minutes, they can give them a slight rating, give them a 3
yeah,
as the average.
average in a game like this, yeah.
Yeah.
Of Emerson, I didn't really see much from him.
I mean,
3.
someone made this. I think it was Abril made the point, either in the cab on the way back or when we're off camera, that as soon as he came on, you saw Guardiola make them change the side they attacked because he looked a bit more with it than Alonso did. Not saying much, but he looked a bit more with it. They changed where they were attacking, went down the left-hand side for what was remaining.
It's simpler with Emerson because he just covers space quicker.
Yeah.
He's just faster.
Yeah. Okay. Kovacic.
3, just because he was better than Barkley, but again, it's not saying much, and he was okay.
Yeah, I agree. 3.
3, but I think Loftus-Cheek should have come on first.
Yes, and that's the last
Loftus-Cheek came
man.
on the wrong position,
Ruben
in my
Loftus-Cheek
opinion.
is the one player I consider giving a 4. 4
Yeah.
or 5.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Because of his impetus
Actually,
on the
yeah,
game,
he's
the
the
effect he
third
had.
player. He was born in the wrong position, though, for me, personally. I'd have taken Jorginho off Kovacic at CDM or Regista, and then Loftus-Cheek in the midfield.
Yeah.
Him putting him on the wing just for me doesn't make all that much sense. I know he can play there, but
Well, this is when I talk about changing this system and looking and adapting it for the Premier League, playing that 4-2-3-1. When I say Kante and Jorginho sit, I'm looking at Loftus-Cheek as that 10, as that player to drive the play forward in behind the centre forward, and then you have Hazard and Hudson-Odoi on an ideal world as the two wingers. That's my opinion anyway. That's what I'd like. That I think he's one that adds impetus. He drives the ball forward. He's strong. He's physical. He can shoot. I think he's the man to play in that position personally. I don't know what you think. Do you see where I'm coming from? Or
I definitely have Loftus-Cheek in that left centre mid role.
Yeah,
definitely. Especially of no offense to Barkley, but 15 million safe risk done. Kovacic is a Real Madrid player, not a Chelsea player. I go for Loftus-Cheek.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you on that. But yeah,
are we doing the manager? Because I know what I'm giving him, and it's a point I want to bring up.
Okay, let's do the manager.
1. Tactics poor, lineup poor, in-game management poor, and the final point, and the other point I mentioned that pissed me off, it's not a big point, and there are other problems, but at the end of the day in football, whoever you are, player, coach, manager, linesman, referee, don't care who, when you are tasked with shaking someone's hand, unless they have done something to disrespect you, unless they have done something to disrespect your family, unless they have caused disrespect on the pitch, unless they have caused an argument with you, anything like that, you shake their hand, no matter what. Without respect in sport, there is very little else in terms of there has to be respect, otherwise it's pointless.
I agree.
The pathetic nature of which he walked down the tunnel without even giving Pep a look, without even giving Pep anything, even the remnants of a handshake or a pat on the back or anything, for me is pathetic.
I agree with you on that, and I think it is a sign of. I think it's a small sign of Sarri losing his head. Well, I won't say a small sign. Like, obviously, you've got to do it. But the one thing I'll look at as well, Guardiola at least continued to defend him in the press conferences, saying that my first season was hard as well. But if you want to talk about the rating, I think Sarri definitely deserves a low rating. I think the lineup up front was all right. I think Loftus-Cheek should have started. Back 4, switch Emerson for Alonso so we can at least move the ball up quicker. But the issue is that we didn't change quickly enough. We were getting battered, and I think a change should have come early.
And the issue is we don't even have the team. This is it. And we've already.
This is why every issue comes on top of another issue. That's why we've been talking. But I feel like we've also been going around circles. Each issue comes back to another.
Yeah. It does, and unfortunately that is it. But I mean, we'll have to see. But obviously, thank you for watching the player ratings. Obviously, subscribe, like, and all that good stuff. Javern, thank you very much. Obviously, last orders of business, gentlemen. Anything else you want to cover from yesterday's game?
We can do sorry and all out or not.
You want to do that?
I mean, if you said we are going to do it, do you want to still do it?
I thought we'd already done it, but we can do it as an independent video. Do you want to do it?
I kind of feel like we've put a lot into the last couple of videos to the point where we're just repeating ourselves.
That's fair.
If the results continue to get poor, this discussion is going to get even bigger, and then we should do it.
I mean, I think the way we should address this is Sarri the right manager for Chelsea, and I think it's something we're going to let's do that. So Javern, can you capture this? There's no more captures. No more time. Oh, okay.
No worries.
We got. Well, I mean, we've kind of covered it anyway. Yep. We've gone through it. We run out of time, but let's just go through last couple of comments. Just wrap up quickly. Just a lot of people saying Pep. To be honest, Pep. I'm not even kidding. The comment section is literally just saying Pep.
I wish we had Guardiola.
It's just catching up on itself. Hold on.
Speaking of Guardiola, there was a little article I remember. Guardiola, when Mourinho first got sacked, for the second time got sacked, he was saying that if he came in, he needs 10 new players. Now, I know the system's changed. I know the players have changed a little bit since then, but it's just to add a little bit of emphasis to the fact of how much we need to change.
Well, I mean, we've already gone through it. We've spoken about everything to do with that. We've spoken about the need for new players. We've spoken about the need for a director of football. There's so much more there that we need to talk about. But again, we just be repeating ourselves. We've been saying it week in, week out for ages. But look, I think we'll leave it there. So listen, if you've been watching the thousands of you that there has been, thank you very much. Really appreciate you. If you enjoyed this bit of content, obviously the reasons this content's been made, in an ideal world, we wouldn't be having this. We'd just be talking football. And we are going to be doing that more and more. So if you enjoyed this and you enjoy it live, let us know in the comment section below, and we will be doing it more. So make sure you follow us on our socials. So at 100PCT Chelsea on Twitter. I think it's the same on Instagram. And obviously follow these guys' socials. Obviously Scotty P, he's got his. They're all in the Twitter and stuff. Lewis's, and they'll be all linked down below, as will mine. But yeah, guys, listen. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, and we will see you later.